I'm Laura Jonker and I'm an applied biology student from Aarhus University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. I'm on Saba to collect data for the otolith and gonad project for my internship with Wageningen Marine Research. The Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality wants to know how the different fish populations around the Bass Islands are doing. Wageningen Marine Research is responsible for this evaluation and started the fisheries project. The otolith and gonad project that I'm working on is part of this bigger project. This project is set up to learn more about the fish living on the Saba bank. The goal is to learn more about the age, the growth and the maturity of the fish. In other words, when they become adults and are ready to reproduce. Wageningen Marine Research and the Saba Conservation Foundation work together to collect this data on Saba. But most importantly, we collaborate closely with the local fishermen. Working together and learning from them makes this project possible. All of the fish used in the project are caught by them, on the Saba bank. We want to collect data on as many species as possible, but most of the species are of economic value. This is important because these species are very valuable for local fisheries. Some of the species we are looking at are the blackfin, vermilion, lane and yellow eye snapper. But we also look at queen triggerfish that are found in lobster traps. It is important that we collect data on fish of different size categories, because we want to learn more about how they grow from a young age until they are adults. Therefore, when the fish are caught, we will select them per size. Once we've selected the fish, we look at the ear bones and the gonads. This has been done at the Saba Research Center. First, we will measure the fish and we will weigh them. Secondly, we look at the ears of the fish. The ears of the fish can't be seen from the outside, but fish do have ears on the inside of their heads. Just as the bones of our ears, the ear bones of the fish, which we will call otoliths, are important for keeping the balance, orientation and hearing. What makes them special is that for every year a fish lives, this bone will grow a new ring. Just as in trees, you can see growth rings. Counting the growth rings is the only way to determine the age of the fish. So where are the otoliths? First, we will open the head of the fish. The otoliths are found underneath the brain. Just like we have one ear on each side, the fish has two otoliths, one on the left and one on the right. Once we have found the otoliths, we will remove them, clean in alcohol and store them. Until they will be sent to Wageningen Marine Research, where using special equipment, the age of the fish will be determined. This brings us to the third part of the research. We are also interested in how sexually mature the fish is. This information is stored in the gonads. The gonads are the reproductive organ of the fish. For the males this will be the testes and for the females this will be the ovaries. To remove the gonads, we open the belly of the fish. When we open the fish, we will first see the organs. The gonads are found underneath the intestines. After removing the gonads from the surrounding tissue, we will measure the length, weigh and try to determine the sex of the fish by looking at the shape and the color of the gonads. The gonads of the female usually have a more oval shape and a more orange color, while the gonads of the males have a more elongated shape and are often more white. How the gonads look can be very different between species. For example, the gonads of snapper species look different compared to the gonads of queen triggerfish. In bigger and more mature fish, it's easier to determine the sex of the fish than in smaller and immature fish, where the gonads might be underdeveloped. Therefore, all the gonads will be stored in alcohol to prevent them from rotting and will be sent to Wageningen Marine Research. With the help of microscopes, it will be possible to determine the sex of underdeveloped gonads, and by looking at the structure of the tissue, we will see the maturity stage of the fish. So, what do we use all this information for? Knowing the growth, the age and the maturity of the fish will help us get a better understanding of how fish populations are doing. This is important because we want to learn more about how many fish we can catch from an area without harming the population, so that it can keep providing the same amount of fish in the future. This is what we call yield potential. In the Caribbean, we know the yield potential of some locations, but we don't know this for the Saba bank. To optimize the yield potential of the Saba bank, it is important that we use information from the fish that come from the Saba bank, because the local conditions may be different from other areas in the region. It is important to know how the fish populations on the Saba bank are doing, so that we can maintain the delicate balance of this marine ecosystem. Maintaining this balance will keep fishery practices possible for future generations. Of course, you are always welcome to come and visit the research center, where we can show you more about the project, and we are more than happy to answer questions you may have.